Hi, good morning. I'm Stephen Lynn, Marketing Director for TRL. Today I'm at the Enterprise Rent-A-Car facility in Milton Keynes where I'm picking up a car, an EV no less, that myself and my colleague James Long are going to drive all the way to Amsterdam. Welcome to TRL's The Route to Amsterdam Challenge, which coincides with the biannual Intertraffic event. You and 4 other members of our team will each travel to Amsterdam using different routes, testing to see how the UK gateway to Europe performs in practice. Right. Although our challenge is not about speed, we will time you to see how long your journey takes. The end of the challenge is outside the entrance of the convention centre where Intertraffic is taking place. Okay, along the way we want you to complete a series of challenges to gain points.
So the first challenge is TRL co-authored a study on behalf of the European Union on the need for harmonised rules to support the rise of micromobility and increase road safety for personal mobility devices.
Take a photo of innovative mobility device like a cargo bike or an e-scooter inside somewhere.
Oh, that should be quite easy in Holland. We'll find out. Challenge 2.
TRL is a world leader in road safety. The Netherlands itself is known for sustainable safety.
As part of your challenge, please take a picture of one of the following features: a low urban speed limit sign, a Dutch-style cycling roundabout, some kind of innovative looking traffic calming measure.
So anything around cycling, active travel, which makes active travel safer.
Challenge 3. Let's find out about this. This is a long one. TRL supports airports, both leading international and regional,
with services that improve safety, efficiency and future readiness across airside and landside operations.
The list goes on, we do loads. This challenge is take a photo of a sign or promotional material that mentions Amsterdam's major airport, Schiphol. That should be easy. Schiphol's massive. Have a great journey. We can't wait to hear about the good points, the bad points and how these can be improved. Right, that sounds interesting. I better get on. Long journey ahead.
Right, just setting off to Amsterdam. Fittingly, I'm going to do it on a Dutch bike, which I own. I'm going to cycle to the station. Got a train from where I live down into London. Then we're going from London to Amsterdam direct on the Eurostar. And then I'm hoping I'm going to take a tram to finish the journey off. Or there might have to be an underground. We'll see how it goes. Let's see how that all starts then. Bike there in the bike rack. As you'll see, it's quite a large bike rack. I think there's another floor of it. It goes on for a while. The more interesting thing is, often on a weekday, it's completely full, a bit quieter than normal. Perhaps that's because it's outside term time for the university, so fewer bikes than normal. Right, train into King's Cross was spot on time and I was able to do lots of work on the train, subject to mobile phone reception, which is the one unresolved problem with the UK rail network. Everything going absolutely slap bang to schedule at the moment. So I'm just going to go into the Eurostar terminal, so I can't film through there, so I'll see you on the other side.
Hi, so I'm Spencer, I work for TRL. So today I've come from Aldermaston. I've managed to walk here today and hopefully catch the train into London. And then we will carry on from London Paddington across to St Pancras, where I'll catch the Eurostar to another station in Brussels where I'll get the bus to Amsterdam. Hopefully therefore proving that I didn't need a car and I could use different forms of transport to get there. Well, of course, what could go wrong is the fact that the trains may be late, but I think we should be okay. They're generally very reliable. One bit that I'm not quite sure about is the transfer within Brussels. So I have to go from the station of Midi to Brussels North. I think I've given myself enough time, 50 minutes or so, but hopefully that should be all okay. The train leaves at 10:23, so 11:23 in Amsterdam, and I hope to get to Amsterdam about 8 o'clock tonight. So as you'll see here, actually the train's delayed by a couple of minutes. I think it should be fine, but it's a good example of where you need to keep a good idea on when the trains are coming. So actually that means now that the 8-minute connection that was originally planned for Reading is down to 6. But I travel through Reading quite a lot, and I know there's lots of trains going into London, so I think we should be okay. We're on our way now to Reading from Aldermaston.
I'm Subu. I am part of the TRL software team. We are heading to Amsterdam to attend Intertraffic 2026. So today I am traveling by flight because I am a bit motion sick. I struggle to travel in coaches. Some flights I hear are changed and cancelled, so I want to be there early and make sure that we check in and everything goes smooth. We should be in the airport by 12 o'clock. The check-in should be over if everything goes well by 12:30, and I should be ready to take my next call at 1 o'clock. That's the plan. I hope it goes as planned. Oh, that's easier. Took probably around 10 minutes to check in, but that was due to the poor signal, but all done now. That is my challenge. One done. It's a connected and autonomous pod.
First leg of the journey so far, so we'll walk to the bus stop and then we're going to catch the bus to Reading Station. DWR train out to Red Hill. So judging by the tracker, Stephen should be here in the next couple of minutes, so the next leg shall commence. And here he is, here's the glorious machine.
James, hello, how you doing?
Hello, success!
Let's go.
Right, let's go. I'm unfamiliar with driving an EV for a long distance journey. So far we've got 51% battery left. So I think we're probably due a charge at the tunnel. What was the range on this, can you remember?
248 miles for 100%, which it was 100% when I picked it up.
Where are we? We're 15 miles from Folkestone at the moment. So I reckon we'll be on a train in the next half an hour. We need to get some charging done, I think.
Range anxiety is a thing.
It is real. It is real.
We are now approaching Reading West.
Just arrived at Reading now and now need to make the transfer to the next platform. So we're going actually from platform 2 to platform 10. I want to try and make the next train to give myself time at Pancras, so I'm going to try and rush for it now. Reading's pretty easy. Quite sure that I'll be able to get a fast train into London Paddington. So actually I'm going to run for this one now. So there you go, good example. The trains are here. If you run, you can get it. So this train, I think, takes about 23 minutes. There's various ways to get the tube from here at this station, depending on which direction you want to go into. But we want to go on the Circle line to King's Cross St Pancras, so it's this way. I think we should be taking maybe about 15 minutes or so. So fingers crossed, we're still very much on track to get to the Eurostar in good time. Well, looks like we've stopped for a red signal, so let's see how long that takes us to get going again. We're on the move again. Eurostar give us a 1.5 hour check-in suggestion, so I just want to be able to make that time so there's no rush at the end. I'd like to try and see if I could achieve this first challenge, which is take a picture of a cargo bike or some other innovative mobility device. We can see a Brompton bike over there for a start. Of course, we've got 100% electric taxis, which are new and growing. Lots of electric bikes.
Fast enough. We are 33 miles and 19%. We need some power. I think we need to go and find someone. In the words of Arnie, I'll be back.
See you in a minute.
Well, the bad news is there's no charge on this side.
Ah.
So good news is we've got to go to France and get there a bit quicker, and then we can charge up.
Okay.
Fingers crossed for Calais. Right, engine off to save a few kilojoules.
We are currently waiting to board the shuttle.
We reckon it's about 5 miles to the nearest charge point on the other side. My main challenge with the EV so far has been actually knowing when it's switched off, especially when we're trying to conserve charge, because it doesn't make any noise. Here we go.
We need to prepare our car for Europe.
We do. Some very simple instructions.
Oh my god. We have a Fiat 600e.
Looks simple, doesn't it?
It was about 25 minutes to get across. That was really efficient. And I think we've got about 6 hours to go. Hopefully we get there about 10 o'clock.
Right, security done. We are all through, no problems, on time, and now we find some time to do some work. We started from 10 a.m. Even before we get into the flight, I've spent 3, 4, 5 hours on the journey. This is quite a long time we practically spent to reach somewhere very close. It's probably better to choose other transport mode, depending on what you do and where you're going.
Yeah, it's gone.
So, I think we just missed the flight. I just said no hiccups, so we had probably the biggest one now. Thank you very much. Right, next flight sorted out, all good. We are leaving in another 30-40 minutes. If you get stuck with work, if you are on calls, you suddenly lose track of time. So that's what happened. We actually arrived a little bit too early. Paid a small fare difference. We made sure we are sitting next to the gate, and then we are about to board.
So I've arrived at Brussels Midi, and now I have to try and find my way through all of these different trains, which I knew was going to be an issue, to Brussels North. I'm going to see if I can try and get the 1629 train to Brussels North. I've got at least 16 minutes. Find the bus station, find the ticket office, find the bus. So I made it onto the bus, and in fact actually with 4 minutes to spare.
We're going to be going up into the Netherlands, and I'll arrive right in the middle of Amsterdam Central. It's the perfect way to travel in many ways. You go from the centre of a city to a centre of a city. You're comfortably seated the whole time. I could work, I could sleep, read a book, have a cup of coffee or a sandwich. So far I'm extremely happy with the journey. The journey planner tells me I could get to the conference centre in 2 or 3 different ways. I'm choosing the tram. Here we go, lots of people with Intertraffic badges coming the opposite direction. I think I took one stop too many on the tram. Anyway, here it is, RAI, big sign, Intertraffic, another big sign. I'm getting very warm. Actually, I'm literally getting quite warm because I'm wearing some of my extra clothes rather than pack them. But here we go. This way to road safety, it says. Let's think about that journey. What time is it now? It's nearly 5 o'clock local, 4 o'clock UK time, and I started off at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's, what, about 7 hours? Now, I could have done it quicker. I probably could have taken about an hour off that because I left plenty of time for my changes because I wanted to video. I don't want to be running around missing things. I took the tram when I could have taken the metro. That was an extra 25 minutes. So I think I could have done it in 6 hours. Could I have got here faster? Probably. But I had a very productive time. I was able to work pretty much all the time if I wanted. I was relaxed. I didn't have to drive. My carbon footprint was very low compared to pretty much any other option, I think. Altogether, it's the civilised way to travel. I had to share my journey with a lot of other people, but that's okay. That's quite civilised too. Certainly nothing that really inconvenienced me. So I'm very happy with my journey. I would certainly recommend it to anyone coming to Amsterdam. We're right here, and hey, look, we get to use trams. Hope everyone else had as good a journey as me.
James, remember, we have to drive on the right-hand side.
We are indeed, and good news, I've just seen a sign for car 4.
So we currently now have 18% left.
I reckon it must be in here somewhere.
We can see petrol and diesel, but so far we can't see electric. A slight wrinkle in our plan.
It gave us hope. We'll keep moving.
Just dropped down to 17% viewers.
So the charge map did tell us that there was one at that car park. We go in here.
I think we're going to have to look for an alternative solution. James.
This feels significant, guys. This is exciting. We have a charger. We use 3% up driving around the car park. 16%, 28 miles. Looks like we're going credit card. So that's presumably the live state of our battery. I've got the first challenge here is take a picture of a cargo bike or some form of innovative mobility device. I'm excited that we've got what appears to be scooter charging here. It shows potential for the future. We're approaching Brussels somewhere. We recharged 96%.
What's our charge situation?
We need to charge again, you see. We've got what, 42 miles, 23% until we're empty, so we're going to go and see what the Belgian charging network's like. They're pretty quick, these. It's the same interface we had at the last one.
Wi-Fi was good. I dozed off a little bit, a bit of work, and it was fast, so no problem. Immigration was smooth, all good. I can get 2 challenges in one completed, which is the traffic sign and the Schiphol airport. It's very difficult to read the number plate from a distance in the dark. Whereas in the UK, it's yellow and black and it's very clear. Yeah, so we are off to an hotel pickup as planned. Everything went well. Right now it is 9 o'clock here.
See the creativity.
Subu Kamal.
Arriving in Amsterdam, hopefully close to where the station is, because I know where I need to go then to find my hotel. Okay, so I just found out the story doesn't quite end here. I actually have to catch another metro. Time is tight to meet all the guys at 8 o'clock. We arrived in Amsterdam Central, so now I need to work out how to get this ferry. I am going to double check I'm not going in the wrong direction. That was lucky. A very helpful policeman told me that I was on the wrong boat. So apparently it's the boat leaving from this place here. So this looks like my boat. So fingers crossed this is the last step of the journey. So I made it home to my hotel in Amsterdam, which you can just see over there.
James, it's 10:30 on Monday.
Yeah, somehow we've snuck into the Netherlands.
In front of us is our hotel. There you go. We have made it.
We have, I expect tomorrow morning it's going to be slightly busier here. What, 30,000 people expected tomorrow? And I think we've just spotted a cameraman. How nice for you to get here too. How are you?
See you.
How you doing?
Hello, sir.
Stephen drove down from Milton Keynes. I got picked up about 11:30, 12 o'clock-ish in Red Hill. By the time I got picked up, we had about half a charge left. We thought we could probably charge at the shuttle. It said on the website at the Folkestone side that we were going to be able to do so. But because we were trying to be efficient and have a bit of flexibility, we had a flexible ticket, which, unbeknown to us, took us to a totally different part of the Channel Tunnel with its own designated area, lovely clean toilets, really, really great coffee, but no charging facilities. So we got to the Calais side, a little bit twitchy and nervous, frankly, because we were down to 20% battery at that point. And it was at that stage, really, we recognised that range anxiety was a true thing. I was always a little bit doubting, if I'm honest. I thought it was a thing that people would put forward as a reason to have an opportunity to not use an EV. But actually, it felt very, very real when we were driving around that particular part of Calais.
I think especially because both of us, we have petrol cars as our own personal vehicles. So I think the fact that we hadn't experienced in driving long range in a EV, that range anxiety really kicked in because it was new to us. We were in a foreign country trying to find an EV charger, not knowing how long really the battery was going to last, and are we going to get stuck in France? If it runs out of battery, what would actually happen? Can we call the equivalent of the AA? Would they be able to charge us up? That kind of unknown was definitely part of the anxiety that I think we felt when we were looking for a charger.
I think one of the challenges that we face when we actually got to Calais, we could see on the sat-nav there was a suggestion of lots and lots of different charging points. The reality of that was that lots of them were unavailable, lots of them weren't working, and lots of them were occupied. So we ended up driving around a lot of different locations to try and find an appropriate place for us to be able to charge. When we actually found one that was working, it was great. And it was a really, really easy experience. It was multiple languages. It told us exactly which of the multiple charging options we had to use. There are only 2 available. We're in a massive supermarket car park. And if those 2 fast chargers weren't available, we would have been stuck with a much, much slower rate. We would have been there for hours. As it happened, we got to about 80% charge in about half an hour, do you reckon?
Yeah, about half an hour.
Yeah, so it meant we could go and grab a few baguettes, really. It was a very good experience once we found a charger, but getting to that point was anxiety-inducing.
I suppose the psyche of the fact that when you are charging, you have to wait, where a petrol car, diesel car, really, it doesn't take very long. You have to factor that into your doing long journeys. So I think for short journeys, EV would be perfect for me. I think for my life in terms of getting around. But, how often do I do a mega journey to Amsterdam once in the blue moon? So I think we did do it to the extreme. So it's just making sure in theory, where the chargers are. That made it bit more easier. So to sum up our experience, the vehicle itself was great. Being first-time EV users on distance, once we got to grips, we understood where the chargers were. That made it a lot easier. The big thing was time. To get to Amsterdam from Milton Keynes via Red Hill, it took us 13 hours. So it wasn't a very practical working environment. So, we're on a business trip, so we can make calls, etc., but emails, etc., wasn't really practical. The last bit, just before I hand over to James, is when we arrived here at the convention centre in central Amsterdam, fantastic parking facilities in terms of it's massive, wasn't a problem finding it, but there was only 3 EV chargers. So our car is in the car park at the convention centre, a car park in excess of 1,000 car parking spaces, but 3 EV chargers. So a good experience. Not a practical one for a business trip, I'd say.
Yeah, I think for me, really enjoyed driving the EV. Didn't find it particularly straightforward as a very first-time user, figuring out how to utilise the infrastructure, where to find it, and how to make the most of it, or really how to plan that trip. Knowing that we had a few different stops, that they were going to take an unknown period of time, that added a few speed bumps.
I think the best way of traveling, you have to decide why you're doing it. If you're going on holiday and you want to experience the people and the country, definitely take the bus. Take the trains. You will meet people, you'll see things out the window. If you've got to travel for a business meeting and you've got to do it very quickly, the reality may be the train. If you can take, for example, Eurostar, or you can fly. So I think it depends what your reasons are for traveling.
Clearly best depends on what your criteria are. I also have done an awful lot of air travel in my time, and I think I've learned that the elapsed time the journey isn't always the most important thing. You might think you save an hour or two by taking the flight, but in my experience it's very difficult to use the time you're traveling when you're flying, because you're often driving or trying to get to some airport, you're hanging around in the airport, you're being hustled on and off, they're constantly bothering. It's very difficult to use the time. It doesn't come in usable chunks. My view would be, well, it took me, let's say, round number 7 hours to get here by train. Maybe I could have done it in 4 or 5 flying, but actually I gained 3 or 4 hours because I was able to use the time, whereas if I'd taken it by thing, I would have lost all that time. Very much depends on really what your priority is. If I had to be there at such and such a time for a meeting, maybe I would have had to fly. Yeah. But if I've got the flexibility and the freedom, the financial freedom comes into this, because different modes cost different amounts, then other modes might be better. It's very difficult in my mind to think when the circumstances would be that it would be better to travel by car. And to answer my own question, maybe if for some reason or other I needed the car at the other end. But even that's quite a high bar, because I'm reliably informed there are taxis in Amsterdam.
We're in a very fortunate position that Amsterdam is so spectacularly well connected, and it has direct rail links to London, etc. To your point around the private car, if I didn't have the onward journey at the other end, if I wasn't going to a client in a rural area, for example, if it wasn't in a city, then I think you might need to start to consider that time option. But certainly productivity-wise on the journey, for me, the train's always been the best option. I've flown a spectacular amount in my life, and sometimes that is just the option that's available.
No, I hear you.
So it's finding the right job.
Yeah, as part of our trip, we were given 3 challenges.
We got 2.
What, 2?
Well, 1.5, I'd say. We got the Schiphol Airport sign, and we're claiming a bit of a win with some future charging infrastructure for micromobility, but it was in a pile of bits with all of the marketing on there. So that's the half.
Yeah, I have completed all 3 in one photograph. When we got out of Schiphol Airport, we had a sign and we had a roundabout there as well as a traffic sign. So
isn't it amazing what you can do with AI nowadays? I did the first one actually before I even opened the metaphorical envelope, because living in Cambridge, I cycled to the station and I probably saw half a dozen or 10 various e-mobility devices, tandems, electric things.
I'm feeling a lot of caveats here, probably this many before I open the envelope. Were you cheating, Paul?
Cheating? No. I was making very efficient use of my time, Jack. The train goes through Schiphol Airport Station. So I've got a photograph of Schiphol Airport. I've just photographed quite a lot of Amsterdam from the tram, and so therefore necessarily picked up advanced mobility. There you go.
3 for 3.
I did capture a number of the challenges. The e-bike thing, we did that outside St Pancras Station in London. The Schiphol Airport sign was captured out of the bus window. To be honest with you, you just need to walk out the door here in Amsterdam and you'll capture plenty of sustainable methods of transport.
Does that mean you didn't actually photograph?
It's work in progress,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
you
okay,
can
right.
tell.
So I think basically everyone got at least 2 of the challenges. So I think you're all winners. Thank you very much for taking part in Route to Amsterdam Challenge. I hope you've enjoyed it, as you're all winners.
Oh, look at this.
I'll sit down the line, please, James.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. I'm going to have to wear this as a headband, though.
For the whole entire conference. And
Football
that's a wrap.
trophies.